Hello, welcome to the first XI Top Flight Football. This is the United. We're going to be talking transfers. I see there's already people in the comments in the chat. First thing I want to do is welcome Rachel, who's now part of the channel. She's going to be co-hosting. We're going to do some tactical things. We're going to break down a lot of the play, a lot of the no system, if you like. We're going to be doing some things like that. We're going to be talking transfers, previews, reviews. With a lot of other Manchester United fans and rivals. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And she's highly talented, honestly. Go give her a follow. Just go read her tweets. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I want to get into transfers. And something Ollie said today. I don't think it's anything where me and you were not surprised by this. I don't think anybody should be surprised by this. Manchester United, for me, should be going out, should be buying elite level players, especially when we're so short. There are so many positions we've got to fill. For me, this feels like excuses. I want to talk about Haaland. I want to talk about Sancho. I want to talk about whether the Glazers are back in, whether Woodward's back in. What are your initial thoughts on the position we should be filling first? Before we get into that, where should we be? I know what it is, but I want you to say, what should we be looking for right now in terms of transfers at Manchester United?
Mainly, well, it's midfield for me. I'm not a big fan of our midfielders. I think they have too many deficiencies, too many limitations to even be called midfielders. But I guess it's like I have high standards because of the midfielders we've had previously at Manchester United. And a lot of our midfielders at the moment, barring Paul Pogba, they have too many holes in their game. So I'm greedy. I'd want two midfielders, one defensive, one more of a ball progressor, someone who can do what Paul Pogba does, pick up the ball, carry it, make forward passes, like quality forward passes, not just hit or miss passes. But I appreciate that we do need a centre-back as well. Our centre-back partnership is horrendous as well. We do need a striker. We need a right winger. We have too many holes. But I've said it before, I think with the strikers, I think we can hold off one more season and try and get more out of Cavani. And hopefully, if we're keeping Martial, which I expect us to do, I don't think we're going to sell him. Obviously, next season, it will probably be better for him. He will probably have a better season next season than this one, because it's been quite bad this season.
Can I ask you why you think that? Can I ask why you think Martial will have a better season than this season?
So I think Martial, he's a good football player. So his fundamentals in terms of his ball control, his ability to hold up the ball, the positions that he takes up, not in the box but outside of the box. When we're progressing the ball up the pitch, he takes very good positions up, and he does link up well with Bruno and Rashford on his day. The problem that I have with him as a striker is more about his positioning in the box, his movement, his desire to get into the box from where when one of our wide players gets the ball and they're running to the byline, and Martial is always behind the play. He's not in a position where he can get onto the end of crosses. At the front post in particular, he's really poor at doing that. He's okay in the middle of the box, but in front post runs, back post runs, he's not very good at it. But none of our front three are. Like Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood are very poor with that. They've been poor with that for a while. It hasn't been. I don't know if it's not been worked on, but they're not doing it enough regardless. And that's something that they all need to work on, not just Martial. But I think his fundamentals as a football player are very, very good. And he is a good finisher, usually. He hasn't done it this season, but he is usually a very good finisher. His technique when he shoots is quite good. So I think he will have a better season next season. I have faith that he will. I have to, because
I hope so. I hope so. Martial, for me, when he's on the ball and he's running at players, he is my favourite player at Manchester United. I love it. It gets me on the edge of my seat. Incredible. There's just massive flaws to his game. His instincts in terms of a striker, I don't think he has them. I think most people know my views on Martial. I just like to see more from him. I don't think he likes competition. He didn't with Zlatan. He didn't with Cavani. This is a great segue, actually, into the first player I want to talk about, the first links player. Before we do that, people, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Some of you already shared it. It's popping up on my screen that you're sharing it already. So thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Haaland.
Yeah.
I see Haaland as a perfect fit myself. That I think he's so much room to grow. I like the links with Ollie. I don't care what anybody says. I think if you've got a relationship already with a manager, it does help in terms of transfers. Manchester United, if they want to spend the money with the brand of Manchester United, I do feel they could get him. The issue was always going to be Woodward, but I want to read the report. Haaland himself sees a possibility to join only 6 clubs: Man United, Man City, Liverpool, and Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus. He has a release clause of 100 million euros coming into effect at the end of next season. For now, he is valued at 110 million euros. What are your thoughts on Haaland? Firstly, would you take him at United? Should United be prioritising him if he's available? If they can get him, an elite striker at his age, should they get him? And does he fit the profile of player that you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would be looking for?
He definitely fits the profile of player. He's 20 years old and he has fantastic fundamentals already. Like he's already established as one of the better strikers in the world, not just of his age group. He's a fantastic finisher. He makes excellent runs into the box. He links up quite well. He's quite a powerful boy as well. Well, I shouldn't say boy, young man. He's quite powerful as well. He holds off defenders really well. His physical attributes, like his height and his build, are very, very good as well for a striker. But he's also quite quick. So he has all the attributes that you'd want in a striker. Definitely in terms of his age profile of player, Ollie likes younger players. And he has a lot of room to grow, as you said. So yeah, he's a very good player that we should be looking at. We should go in for him, but we won't for obvious reasons. This summer, we need a lot of we need a lot of investment into the squad, throughout the squad, not just as a striker. Like Haaland will cost, as you said, 110 million euros.
Yeah.
If we get Haaland, we get one more player who's not of the quality, and that will be it. We won't get anything else. So investing in Haaland from the club's point of view, is it worth getting a striker who won't get the same level of play around him that he will at Dortmund in terms of creativity? He won't get the ball in key areas like he will at Dortmund because we don't have the players to provide him. So he will actually, it wouldn't be worth getting him if we can't get the other players we need to progress the ball up the pitch enough and actually give him chances to score goals.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just feel with a player like Neeks knows my opinion on strikers. we go, yeah, I probably talk about it way too much, but but for me, I think if he becomes available, like if you can get an elite striker as like an elite goalkeeper, you go and get them when you can because there's not many around. There just aren't. It's very rare to find a complete striker, especially at his age. And I'm not saying he is complete. There's a lot of growing he has to do, and we don't know how he's going to adapt from the Bundesliga. But what's your thoughts, Neeks? What's your thoughts on links?
On which one? Well, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I came on because obviously the group chat we were chatting, and we were talking about, innit? Yeah. I saw a tweet from KJ. I think it was because someone shared anyway Ollie's little quote that he said in his press conference about basically no money. So we're chatting about it in the group chat.
Yeah, he basically said we have players in the academy we can give opportunities to. It's not different to any other club. There will be less and less transfers happening in football.
I basically came to do KJ's job. I thought we would be here already. The question is, as he put on Twitter, when do we go after the board? At what point do we stop focusing on the manager, whoever it's Solskjaer, whether it's Jose, whatever it might be, David Moyes? Like, look at David Moyes' first transfer window. It was the worst transfer window in the history that we've ever had. Fellaini on deadline day for about 10 million more than we could have got him a month earlier. So when do we go after the board? Like, for me, last summer was an opportune moment. We finished third when no one expected us to, and there was certain transfer targets. But because we lost our first game to Crystal Palace, a lot of people were like, well, no, Solskjaer has to do the best with the squad that he's got, even though we knew the transfer window was a flop. Then we went on that amazing run. We got to January. We're top of the league. And I remember I put out, I said, all right, now Ed Woodward, go and back the man and let's see if we can continue this title push. People coming back to me saying, "Oh, well, we're top with this squad, so it must be good enough." I said, "No, he's overachieving with this squad. We know how he felt in the summer. Nothing's changed just because somehow we are top of the league." And it really was a somehow, because a month and a half later, we're 15 points off. So let's be honest, first place at that point was a false position based on the quality of the squad. We had overachieved to get where we had, and we needed to be back in the January. We knew it was very unlikely, but it doesn't mean that we stop talking about it. It's the same way when people are saying Solskjaer needs to go, he needs to be sacked. We know that Edward was not going to sack him in the middle of the summer, also in the middle of the season, but they're still doing it because that's what they believe. So it being in the middle of the season, or it being unlikely that the Glazers are going to spend, shouldn't stop us demanding that they do spend. And the same thing goes for this summer. He's talking about, obviously, Solskjaer saying what he's saying. And I think for me, whether he's doing it truthfully or as a strategy play, I think it's the right thing to say, because what you don't want to go into the market saying, "Oh yeah, we got all the money to spend. It doesn't matter about COVID. We can go out and do what we need to do." Edward would have said that in his first summer, and everyone priced us out for all their players. Solskjaer said it at the start of the pandemic, or somewhere similar, and we know how the summer turned out. Now, is it a coincidence, or is it just is it a reflection on, or should I say an effect on what they said? I don't know, but I think it's not smart to go in and flash the cash, because people are going to want the cash and they're going to put 25% on top of any transfer fee. So I don't have a big issue with what he said, but COVID or no COVID, whether we finish second or whether we finish fifth, it doesn't make a difference to me. The squad needs strengthening in. We can be realistic or we can be honest. Honestly, in these 4 positions. Realistically, let's say 2. Because you're not going to get 4 world-class players in one transfer window at Man United. If you're Chelsea, Barca, Real Madrid, you might. Maybe not Barca in this current situation, but generally speaking, they can go out and do that. We're unlikely to do that. But 2 positions for me are priority. And for me, it's centre-back and right wing. I know the striker one is important, but I look at, and again, Solskjaer is not these quality managers. But even if you look at PSG, you look at Liverpool, you look at Man City, you look at Barcelona to an extent, you can get away with not having the best striker in the world if you've got goals coming from around the team. Now, at the moment, we've got goals from Rashford, we've got goals from Bruno. Last season, we had goals from Martial and Greenwood. Cool.
And we will get them from Pogba when he's fit. And
next season, if he's here. But
we'll get onto that.
Yeah. if for me, if we get a Sancho on the right, who in the last 3 years has contributed 15 goals, 15 assists, and we get those kind of numbers in our team, I think we can get away without having a Haaland. Now, if you get a Haaland, the issue of creativity still exists in our team. Rashford is not a creator. Bruno is, but he's more of a goal scorer than he is a creator, but he can do both. The midfield, other than Pogba, ain't going to create, and in the right wing, we're not getting anything from there. So if we can get goals and creativity from our right winger, i.e. Sancho, for me, that's a bigger coup than getting just goals from the striker, which a Haaland would bring. Both of them would improve our team massively. But for me, I still think that right winger is the key. If you want to, I know, for example, you mentioned something about Martial, do a swap, 50 million plus money for Haaland. For me, if you can do that, do that.
Happening.
I would do it.
We know it's
what
not.
I'm saying.
Go out and do it. But for me, still go and get the right winger, because all you've done is 1 in, 1 out. We need holes filled, not just players replaced. So and when I say players, I'm talking about first team players. Yeah, get out Mata and replace him with Sancho, cool. But I'm talking about first team players, and I think the right wing and the centre back for me is the key positions.
It's for me, it's more about which players are an asset financially. Like if it's a case of they don't want to spend money, and a player who's not performed, we know the Matters need to move on. The Matic, the Phil Jones. Probably a bit unfair on Matic and Mata to put Phil Jones in that category, but you know what I'm saying. Like they're not seen as first team players really. Martial though is more of an asset. That's why I brought it up. I was like, a Dortmund would would want a Martial. I think Martial would kill it over there. I think he would absolutely kill it. He's probably too good for Dortmund, maybe, but at times. But
Well,
you get what I'm trying to say with it.
no, I get you. I'm trying to think, is he too good for? I mean, talent-wise, he probably is too good for Dortmund. But Dortmund are in the Champions League every year. They sometimes try and push.
He would be the star. If Haaland left, he would be their number 9. He'd be playing in the position he wants to play. A lot of high-line football. I think he would enjoy it. But
what I just don't want to do. Sorry, I know you're going to come in. Me personally, I don't want to advocate replacing our first team players. I'm saying add to our first team. If we add two into it, saying we're like, oh, we've got too many of this or too many of that, then we can talk about getting rid. But you look at, I think someone mentions it, Benji mentioned something about Bissouma. I said we need a DM because what do you think about Bissouma? So for me, Bissouma is a box to box. If you want to say, oh, we get rid of Fred and bring Bissouma, cool. We still need a DM. So my focus ain't on replacing our first team players, Martial, Fred, McTominay, whoever else you want to put in that category. My thing is filling gaps in the team. And keep who we've got until we can get rid of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I hear you. What's your thoughts, Rachel?
What in terms of?
In terms of what Nick said, in terms of, well, the first thing for me would be, I think you've got a lot more faith in Ed Woodward having a plan than I do.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a Woodward.
So you think Solskjaer genuinely was told and he's truthful saying we ain't gonna spend much this summer? Because if that's the case, then we might as well just pack our bags now because we're done. He's
I'll
finished.
Be surprised.
We're finished.
I will be shocked if we go out and we buy two. We get 2 of our first choice targets.
We think you can get 1.
I think we can get 1, but I also think that depends on the competition for the player that we're looking for. I don't think Woodward's in the business of blowing teams out of the water. I just don't think he is.
We're not getting Haaland.
I can't see us getting Haaland.
It's not possible. There's too many teams. Because there's too many teams that need strikers. Like, for example, Chelsea. We've heard that, their transfer chest is like 200 and something million. Whatever we want to pay for Haaland, Chelsea will blow it out of the water anyway. They'll offer probably the same amount in terms of wages, maybe. But Chelsea have a plan. If they want Haaland, if Roman Abramovich wants Haaland, he will get Haaland.
So do you think the Roman versus Woodward, let's say,
it's no contest
battle? Do you think that's stronger than the Solskjaer versus Tuchel in terms of Solskjaer's relationship with Haaland versus, I guess, Tuchel?
I think it's the club project. I think it's the club itself, the model, everything about the way Chelsea move. So that's my opinion anyway. I think Man United is still the biggest brand. I think it's still the biggest brand. I just don't think the club is taken seriously. Also, when you look at it, it's if you're a Haaland and Man City come in for you, you go to Manchester City. You go to win trophies. That's how I look at it anyway. But unless he was to really buy into the whole young player with a young squad, a manager that he already has a relationship with, the brand of Manchester United, all of that. He has to buy into a lot to choose Manchester United over a Man City for me.
Over a Man City, I get that.
I think you know what else it is as well? I think when Haaland looks at Manchester United compared to a lot of the other top teams, and he sees the players that he has to play with, knowing that there's a chance Paul Pogba is going to leave as well, who is probably the only quality, like top quality midfielder that we have, like a world-class midfielder. If he knows Paul Pogba is leaving, or he feels like Paul Pogba is likely to leave, where's the pull in terms of the players? We all know, everyone knows that Manchester United are terrible in the transfer window. They have been for the last 8 years. Well, arguably longer than that. Even under Fergie, we were terrible in the transfer window. But he looks at the team. He looks at Paul Pogba likely to leave, and then he looks at the quality that the players that he's playing with now at Dortmund, they have some very good players in there. It's not just Sancho and Haaland versus the world. They have a few good players in there. where's the pull in terms of the players he's playing with?
No, I agree. We need. That's why last summer was so damaging. We need the big players to keep and attract the big players. You know, the likes of Pogba are more likely to sign a contract if he can see that the club is moving in the right direction. And those players that we want to get to move in the right direction are more likely to sign if they can see. I was thinking about it today. Like, look at when Van Persie left Arsenal. His biggest gripe was he went to Wenger saying, all right, who are we going to get? Because I need to know whether my future is worth staying here. And whatever the meeting was, it wasn't enough for Van Persie. He's like, no, I'm out of it. I'm leaving. And that's I 100%. I get that vibe for Pogba. Like, if we say, let's say before the summer, before they went to the Euros, we had agreed a deal with Sancho and Haaland. Pogba's probably staying. Pogba's probably thinking, I might as well. Like, what's the real point of me going elsewhere when it's clear that we're getting those players? But if we don't, if we end up with, you know, Danny Ings and Tyrone Mings, then listen, I'll help Pogba go to the airport himself. Like, I hear you. It's worrying. I just hope. I think if Man City come in for Haaland, I don't think anyone's got a chance. I don't think anyone in world football has a chance, to be honest. No. But I do think that with Chelsea, there can be a battle. If we offer, in terms of his wages, similar amounts or whatever, because remember, there's not even guarantee Chelsea's going to get Champions League football this year. So if
there are factors.
Yeah, if we're dealing with Champions League and they finish in the Europa League, then that's another factor. Of course, his career is going to be long, so he might think, 1 year out's not a problem. But there's that factor that he might have to consider as well.
Yeah, you've also got to look at it as Dortmund. If Dortmund get Champions League football and they get a decent fee for Sancho, because I'm pretty sure he is off. Do you think they would offer Haaland another contract? I think it would suit all parties, like, or even have him for that year, the last year, and buy in a player to replace Sancho so they can still compete in Champions League. Maybe it would suit Haaland to stay there longer. I did read a lot about his father saying that it's still about his development. He's still young. It's about finding the right club, the whole club that wants him, not just a manager or a director of football, but the whole club, and the whole package has to fit for the needs of Erling Haaland. He's definitely happy at Dortmund. From what I see, I think he's happy there. I don't think he needs to push for a move. I think he's that good that he will always get one if he wants one. But there's a lot of factors involved. If Chelsea don't make Champions League football, why would he leave to go to Chelsea? I don't understand that.
Because if you really want to go Chelsea, if he really wants to go Chelsea, you just wait one summer and see if they get back in the transfer, get back in the Champions League and go the summer after.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The rumors regarding Haaland weren't originally. It was supposed to be Sancho leaves this summer and then Haaland leaves next summer. That was the sort of plan from what I read. But obviously, because of everything that happened in the Champions League and how great a season he's having, obviously that's sort of been pushed forward and people are more interested and all the rumors have come out. So really, we don't actually know what the intentions of Haaland and his family are. But what I would say is, if Dortmund do sell Sancho for a fee of around 90 million and Haaland does stay another season, I think as you said, he would be okay with it. And I think Dortmund will be ecstatic with it because they probably plan to have him for the season, an extra season, and sell Sancho to us.
Yeah, they're not going to want to lose both in one window,
are
they?
Exactly.
They're not going to.
What I really hope Haaland stays this year and goes for his release clause the next year, because what the release clause does, like if we're going to say, Chelsea would just pay 100 million and we're not willing to do that, when it's the release clause window, there's one fee for everyone. So it's all the only thing you have to do is convince him via the contract that you offer, or in terms of just the project of the club, etc., about coming to your club. It's not going to be a case of, they outbidded you, you weren't willing to go to that fee. It's literally like a level playing field. Go and do your best. And I think we may be able to fare better in that market, as opposed to a market where we're trying to do these little Woodward add-ons, clauses, Ballon d'Or exemptions, all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah. All when I think if it's a flat this is the release clause. Put your bids in and offer your player. I think we'll do better. So I'm hoping that he stays one more year. We can get Sancho this year, and I think Sancho's a possibility. I think we desperately wanted him last year. I can't see how his price is going to go up from last year. He would have to be player of the tournament, golden boot winner of the Euros, all of that kind of stuff for his price to even remain as what it was last summer. It has to go down now. I think we can have a good chance of getting him this summer.
I think so, but I also think Chelsea would look at him. I really think Chelsea will look at Sancho more than they will Haaland.
You think?
Yeah, because Pulisic is made of butter pastry. Like the wind blows, it falls apart, and then you've got he does like I watched a warm up where I think he just stretched and he was injured for 2 weeks. Like he's got real issues for a young guy. It's a real shame because I as a footballer, forget he's at Chelsea. As a footballer, I really like watching him play football. I really rate him. He's great. I don't know what the situation is with Cho, whether he's going to stay at Chelsea or not. You've got to look at Ziyech. Werner's not a winger. Sometimes I'm not sure if he's a footballer, but he's definitely not a winger in my opinion. So if they could get Sancho, I think he would add a lot to Chelsea. They'll keep Giroud. For me, he's still a top striker. They've got Tammy Abraham. Maybe he'll move on. We don't know, and maybe they can find a way to accommodate Werner. But I think it's going to be a battle between Man United and Chelsea for Sancho rather than Man United and Chelsea for Haaland. I think that's more of any club who can get Haaland will go for him. I think that's the thing with Haaland. Players must hate him. Players must hate Haaland because all the top clubs are going to want him. In my opinion, if you can get him, you go and get him. Like I say, elite strikers are rare, very rare. No one's going to want to go out and spend the money on a Harry Kane, not the money Daniel Levy's going to.
But then this is it. This is it. If you're saying elite strikers are rare, of course having one it gives you an advantage. But it's also not the be all and end all because if there's only one or two maximum. Only one or two clubs can get him, and who's got them? You've got Kane, who's got Spurs have got one, Dortmund's got one, and Bayern Munich's got one. Other than that, it's all run of the mill. So getting him could give us an advantage, but is it the be all and end all if we don't have that elite striker? Because a lot of clubs are coping without one.
No, I don't think it is.
There's that, but then also there's that, but then there's also the fact that. Look how many clubs are in for a top striker, especially Haaland is the one that Indiana wants. Look how many clubs are in for him. Where do Man United fall down in that pecking order? Unfortunately, right now, it's towards the bottom. If it's last, if it's not last, it's second from last. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, all right, cool. If that is the case, look at what other areas in the team where we need elite players also. Where can we fill and how many other clubs are going after them? Jadon Sancho is a player right now that doesn't have as many teams after him as a Haaland. Go get that elite winger because we need an elite winger anyway. So go get that. If Haaland moves this summer, we wasn't going to win that anyway. If he doesn't move and is an open battle next summer, hopefully we'll be in a better spot to go move for him. But my opinion is this: we need that right wing. One of our issues is creating from the right hand side, creating from a different option that isn't Pogba, that isn't Bruno. Go get that creative right winger to give us some kind of balance, and then and talent. I can promise you, the likes of the Rashfords, the Greenwoods, the Cavani's, heck, maybe even Martial.
They'll score goals.
We'll score more goals because we'll make it easier to score.
Can I ask KJ a question just before I go because I got to do a match review. Preview, sorry, in 10 minutes. When can we start talking about the Glazers?
Never, never stop talking about those pagans, brother. All right, listen.
Because we've been told for about a year, coming up to a year now, this ain't the right time.
Not the right time. Not the right time.
Let's talk about.
It's always the right time.
Always, thank you. Always the right time to talk about those pagans, bruv, and that wallad that we call Woodward, fam. You know what I'm saying? Always time. I'm sick of it. Oh, it's not the right time. Talk about it in the transfer window. Oh, it's mid-season. Yeah, it's mid-season, so we talk about them because the reason why we're in our position that we are because they didn't do their job in the summer. So we talk about it in season, bruv.
Yeah,
we talk about it in season.
Yeah,
it's
a constant fixture, KJ. That's why you have to keep talking about it. They don't just start doing business when the transfer window opens. They're making the plans right now.
Well, they should be. They should be making the plans right now.
They should be.
They're out here. They're planning their dividends, bro. That's what they're planning. They're planning the next sponsor.
But this is the problem, and it's the reply that I put on your tweet. I said people don't want to talk about them, or they keep trying to push back the time when we can because it messes up with their agenda or their whatever it might be, their belief, or because if we talk about the Glazers, they're in their head, it's like, does that absolve Solskjaer of blame? You can do both. You can criticize Solskjaer if you think his tactics ain't good enough, the results ain't good enough, the player selection, rotation, blah blah blah, while still looking at what I would say is the biggest problem. But people don't want to do that because I think they're so hard set on their agenda that anything that can even slightly take your foot off his neck, which I guess going after the Glazers do because it shows where the real problem is, they're not willing to concede. And if they do concede that, in the next breath, they're back on Solskjaer. So it absorbs everything they've said before.
You know what the issue is?
At what point? When do we do it? Is it when you get your perfect manager in and then you can say it? Because just before you come in, because even with Liverpool, look at Liverpool. They got Klopp, arguably best manager in the world, probably not, maybe second best behind Pep. For me, the real reason why Liverpool are where they are is because of their owners. Because the owners did not invest properly, and especially after they won the Champions League, and probably not properly this summer. But people who love FSG are going to speak about Klopp. They're going to say, why is he not playing this formation? Why is he not changing this? Why is he not giving that person a chance? When the real issue lies with the owners, that you need to be able to look at both things, whatever the issues may be, and assess them separately and as critical as necessary. And people can't do that.
Oh, Unique, talk about like people are always on Ollie's neck. You know why that is? And they can't do both because they've got their hands on the neck. They've got their hands on Ollie's neck. What I'm doing is the foot. You need the foot because when you've got the foot on someone's neck, you can use your hands to thump somebody. That's what I'm saying. So I've got my foot on the Glazers and the Walla's neck, and if I need to go slap Ollie a little bit because he's been an idiot at times, I can do that. But when they've got their hands occupied with Ollie, you can't kick out at the Glazers, fam, because you're in an awkward position, bro. People, put your foot on the Glazers' neck and then use your hand to slap Ollie every now and then. That's what it should be.
I agree.
I agree with you as well. What was your reaction to Ollie's comments? I know you put out a tweet, but I want to hear it from you.
My reaction was this: people calling him a puppet, but we need to stop calling managers puppet underneath man, because you know why? You know why they're not puppets, yeah? If you look at like puppet regimes, where you got like puppet kings and puppet princes and puppet governments, they still get what they need to keep up the facade. You know what I mean? They still get what they need to keep up the job, to be like, oh yeah, I'm still in charge, but really they're not. He ain't even getting what he needs to keep it up, so he's not a puppet. He can't be a puppet.
He's a victim.
He's a fool guy. That's what he is. He is a fool guy. He is the guy who set up there. Don't give him what he needs. So when you can take the rug underneath his feet, you can do that. He can't be a puppet when he ain't even got the clothes. Man, just bare wood. There's no clothes on him. There's no garms. There's no jewelry. What kind of puppet is that? He is literally a bare wood puppet, getting ready to get put in the furnace for the fire, fam. That's what he is.
My issue now this summer, what you're going to get is the people who are Ollie out. Ollie's not going to be sacked. As long as we finish in the top four, whether it's second or fourth, whether it's 10 points clear of fifth or goal difference, as long as he's in Champions League football next year, he ain't getting sacked. But the Ollie outers, and I'm talking about the proper staunch, no holds barred Ollie outers, who won't even let you breathe his name in their presence. They're going to be like, well, we don't need anyone. Solskjaer needs to prove that he can do it with his squad. They're not going to be putting the demand, or they're going to say something like, he doesn't deserve any more players because he bought this person, he bought that person, and how good are they? And it's like
Ridiculous.
It's like your agenda is so clouded on the manager that you're not even thinking about what's best for the club. Because let's say Solskjaer's not good enough, and let's say he proves that next season and gets sacked by Christmas. We're still not going to have Sancho. We're still not going to have Haaland. We're still not going to have Varane or Koundé or whoever, and they're all going to be going to our rivals. So then, when you get the manager that you do want, who are we going to sign? Because all the players are gone. So you should want these players signed for the better of the club, regardless of who the manager is. And it's the same thing I was saying after Jose. Jose was going to get sacked. He knew he was going to get sacked, and he was actually doing everything really to either get what he want or sack. There was no in between. Get what I want, or I'm going to be sacked. And obviously, ultimately, he didn't get what he wanted, and he was sacked. But in that same summer, I was like, listen, we know that Bailly Lindelof, who we bought, the partnership it wasn't working at the time for one reason or another. We know we bought was Sanchez. We needed that to work out, and obviously, ultimately, it didn't. But we needed players that summer to close the gap between Man City, who got 100 points, and we had like 81 or whatever it was. And he got Fred, Dalot, and Lee Grant, players that he did not want. I mean, in terms of for the first team, with Dalot, he was okay with Dalot, but people were like, well, you know what? Jose's not the right man anyway. So let's get a right manager in, and then let's get him the players he wants. By then, all the players are gone. You got a new manager. You have to wait a whole season before that new manager even beds in and decides who he wants, etc., etc. Because you look at Chelsea. They spent 250 million. Now they get rid of Lampard. You get in Tuchel. Now Tuchel has to see what he needs from this club. So you waste another 6 months, whatever it might be, thinking about how good the players are that I've got. And before you know it, this player's gone, that player's gone. You have to sell the players that you bought for the last manager, etc., etc. Get the players that the club needs, regardless of the manager. And if the manager ain't good enough, he will be gone. And the next man can come in and do the job. And I think people just got their priorities wrong when they're focusing on the manager, whose fate will be decided regardless.
Yeah, and that's all it is. It's not saying, I'm not sitting here saying you cannot beat Oli out. You know why? Because I honestly do not care. If Oli is the guy, he will be the guy. If he's not the guy,
he's not. It was that.
That's what it is. My thing is this: if you're gonna focus so much of your energy and your rage on the manager, and you're calling him a puppet, why don't you go after the people who employ him? The people who employ him, the people who are keeping him in the job when you don't think it's good enough, and still not giving him the tools that he needs to actually look like he could do something. Go after them, man, because they're the ones controlling him. If he truly is a puppet, how can you be upset at the puppet for moving a certain way? It makes no sense. That's like getting mad at Pinocchio. For what?
Because he's not
Pinocchio's
a real boy.
puppet, bro. It makes no sense. You're Geppetto, my brother. Go sort out your puppet, fam. That's what it should be. Go after Geppetto, fam. Go after these players.
Indiana, I need to head off. But,
appreciate you coming on, Neeks, man. Appreciate you coming on. Go and check Neeks out as well, people. Make sure you go and subscribe to his channel and check out his stuff. KJ, I want to ask you about Pogba, actually. Are you calm enough to talk about Pogba yet?
And you know me. I'm always calm to talk about PP, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so do you think we keep Paul Pogba? Do you think he signs a new deal? If that's the case, will that affect our window? Is it going to be used as Pogba's a new signing type Woodward thing? If he does go, does that increase our chances of signing other players? What's your thoughts?
So Pogba will stay. I think he will sign a new contract, but it's not going to be this 5-year contract that some people want from him to show that he's committed. It won't be that. It'll be a 2-3 year extension so that he keeps his price during this COVID thing. And by the time that comes to the end, he will still hold some value so the club can get some money back. It's a deal that both the player and the club can deal with, because like, right, we can't find a buyer for you right now because it's COVID. There's no real place for Pogba to go right now anyway. If he stays here for another year, potentially 2, depending on how COVID happens, retain your value. You're still going to be 20. You're still going to be 29, 30. Still in your prime years. Get that big move after that contract start. Get it then, and we can get some money back. So it makes sense. How will that affect our transfer window? No DM will come in. No centre midfielder will come in. the idea of Jack Grealish is now can go completely out the window. You know what I mean? Because the only way that we could have really funded that deal.
Can't you have a word, KJ? Can't you have a word and get Grealish in or what?
All right, listen, man's got Jack and Speed, I'll let it, but like man's too busy focusing on his boyhood club getting into Europe and that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that the only way we was going to get Grealish was if Pogba was going realistically. So that's going to happen. They're going to treat this as look, we're building for the future. We're keeping our best asset. No, you're not. You're using it as a money-making exercise, fam. You know what I'm saying? With Pogba still here, they still make money, you know. Pogba is a money maker. He is. Yeah. So if you're keeping him, it's no detriment to them. They don't care about this whole thing of him being a virus is a fallacy anyway. But even if he was, they wouldn't care because is he making us money? Shirt sales, sponsorships, adverts. He's making us money. All right, cool, he can stay. Because that's all they care about. So we are screwed. That's all I need to. We are screwed. PP will stay. We won't get a new DM. We won't get a new midfielder. We won't get a Jack Grealish. And our transfer window.
Cavani extension.
Danny Ings on a free. They'll bring Tevez back from Argentina because why not? And you know what?
Januzaj.
Adnan Januzaj. If they're gonna blow the money and break the bank, it'll be for Januzaj for 80 million. Like that is. Oi, Memphis. Oi, listen. I'll give me Memphis on a free now. Give him to me. But they're that dumb, bro. They're so stupid that they can't see. If we're gonna bring any player back, bring back the guy that's been carrying his team, who's now mature, who's ready to handle the mantle of Manchester United. He was too young before. Now he's ready. If you're gonna bring any player back from a past player, we don't bring back Lukaku. You don't bring back Januzaj. You don't bring back Audi. You don't bring back Sanchez. You bring back Memphis. But these man won't do that. Like it's done. It's done. We're finished. We are finished.
Let's have a bit more sanity. Rachel. Rachel. How do you firstly smash a like on the video, please. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do that. Go and follow everybody. Make sure you do that, please. What are your thoughts? How do you see the window going?
I have no hopes for this transfer window. Honestly. Obviously there's an ideal transfer window, and then there's a transfer window that we will inevitably have, and it will be we might get a centre back, we might get a midfielder, we might get a right winger, but who do we get? It's anyone's guess, to be honest with you. So yeah, I have no hopes for it whatsoever. The centre back thing worries me because even though we're linked with Koundé, I don't know if our board or our scouts are actually looking at him and saying he's the next best thing for us, because he's good on the ball. He's quicker than any of our centre backs, barring probably Bailly, probably about the same with that. He's also 5'8".
He's not. He's surely he's 5'10". He's not 5'10".
No, he's 5'8". He's 5'8". Now, like he does jump. He jumps really well. Don't get me wrong. He's got a leap on him. But then when you start looking at the way we defend at set pieces, so we do like zonal marking, right? And teams tend to, when we're defending a set piece, they tend to get the run up on all of our defenders. If Koundé doesn't have a run up, how is he going to out jump anyone who attacks the ball in our box? Like, really think about it. Like, we have like a system issue in terms of the way we defend set pieces anyway. But then if you just add the fact that we've got a 5'8" centre back in there alongside Harry Maguire, when Harry Maguire doesn't, even though he should be attacking the ball in the air, he doesn't always do it. What does Koundé bring to our back four that's going to save us defensively? Like, really? So Koundé is he's not a bad player or anything like that. I haven't been impressed by him like overly when I've watched him play, but as a centre back, he doesn't fill me with confidence in terms of making the next best centre back pairing that we could have since Vidic and Ferdinand. So
you don't think he fits the profile for what we need in terms of partnering Harry Maguire? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he does on FIFA.
Yeah, I'm about to say on FIFA. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, he does on FIFA.
That 84 Koundé card is amazing, bro. Like if you know, you know what I'm saying. But
I don't know.
It's like it's just you look. Okay, the quality of centre backs in world football is on a low anyway. Like that's just facts. So you're trying to find the best out of a bad bunch. And when the best is a 5'8" centre back who basically is not built for the Premier League, and we go for that, that's not good. It makes so much sense that we're getting, because it makes no sense why we should have it. You know what I'm saying? That is why we should go
it's funny
nowhere
because
near
it's
him.
true, you know.
We should go nowhere near him, but that's exactly why we should go near. That's exactly why we'll go get near him. That's exactly why we'll go get him. You got other players like Kanate, good option, injury prone. We've already got Bayi. We don't need another one. You know what I mean? We don't need a younger version of Bayi.
That's right.
What you got Milenkovic? Is he really what we need? You know what I mean? Syria. We know about these Syria defenders coming to the Prem and that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at man like Darmian. Oh, you know what I'm saying? His peak. Like, so where else is there? What else is there to look? We can't look at our
Varane.
Varane. Yeah. Oh, listen, Varane will be sick. I would love Varane.
We won't get him.
We all know what's happening right now. Varane's looking at the move away. Varane's not accepting a new deal. Come the summer, Comunidad Oficial, Rafael Varane signs new contract. We know what's happening. He ain't coming. So what we got? We can't look at the youth because people already want Twanze be gone. I personally still believe in him, but hey, most people don't, which is fair enough. Mengi's too. What? Don't know why people don't believe. Well, I do believe.
Don't believe just because he hasn't. For me, he hasn't had enough game time this season, and he's been in and out of the squad. I mean, I understand he's made mistakes, but he had an excellent game against PSG. Granted, Aaron Wan-Bissaka did help him out a lot in that game, but he was very good against PSG. He was solid. He didn't come back into the team for a few games. Made a mistake against Sheffield United, if I remember correctly. I think it was.
Well, it was
in a 3-2. Was it Sheffield United?
No, I think it was Istanbul. It was Istanbul.
Istanbul. Like he made a couple of mistakes, but it's the same situation with Donny. Like when you're bringing in a player that's going to start playing games for the starting 11 to try and get them into the team, you have to give them a few games, even if they're playing poorly, because they have to get used to it. It's very rare you bring in a player who's going to be instantly brilliant for the team. It's not possible. Like you get
Bruno's a freak. Bruno's a freak.
Not just that. There was a statement yesterday from Ollie saying Donny is not where we need him to be, and where he would want to be, where he wants to be himself.
He lies.
Yeah, but he's going to say stuff like that, isn't he? I do feel though, if he was good enough, he could get them in the team. When I say good enough, I mean fit enough or fits the balance of the side. He would be playing. Last time I seen Donny out, I can't remember who we were playing now.
Watford.
It was Watford. He was lost,
Watford. And my man didn't look up for it. He didn't look up to the pace. And that's a championship team in the FA Cup. When he played against West Ham when we won 3-1, my man was absolutely lost. I don't know what my man was doing up there. And this is not because I don't like Donny van de Beek. I love Donny van de Beek. When he first came in, I was like, yes. I called him War Machine, didn't it? Because he's versatile.
Yes, he did.
But he just hasn't adapted quick enough. But he's not. No one knows mad, yeah? People will say, like, free Donny. He's not the only player who's suffering. Havertz, Werner, Ziyech. Suffering. Yeah. Thiago. Suffering. You know what I'm saying? The way the season's panned out, players ain't got time to adapt. It's you're either ready now or you can't be playing football. And that's all it is. And I hope
some players take a season, KJ. Yeah. Some players take a long time to adapt, and some don't make it. Let's be honest. Some just don't cut it.
Donny, I believe he can become good for Manchester United. Give him a year, give him a season. I think fans trying to rush him into the team are trying to set Ollie up, because if he comes into the team and just poorly, it's Ollie's fault. But if he's not in the team, it's Ollie's fault. So cool. Again, just say you don't like the geezer and move on, innit? And two, I just feel like the speed of the Premier League, he's not up to it, and it's not right for him to be playing right now. It isn't. It's not fair on the team or him. We argue about Martial and what he brings to the team. So if he's not bringing enough to the team, what's Donny gonna do? Because he's not bringing enough to the team, so you can't want him to be in there. It's unfair on him. So yeah, give him time, and I'm sure he'll come good. But right now, ain't the time for Van der Beek, and we need help in there. As I was saying about the youth in terms of centre backs, we can't go to Mengi because he's just come through and he's got experience. He needs more experience after his loan with Derby and Rooney. He needs a loan again. You know what I mean? So we can't turn to the youth. We got Deshaun Bernard out on loan at Salford City. Again, the level is too low. He needs to go to another loan to get more experience at a higher level. So we can't look to our youth academy for a centre back. We can't look at the centre backs we got here because we know what they are.
Yep.
And out there in the world, it's either you buy the best centre back in the world for 80, 90, 100 million, or you get surpassed as centre backs. We are not in a good position.
What I will say is that if the club have done things properly and they have identified Koundé as a genuine target where they understand the deficiencies of having him in the club and they're going to work on it, then fine, sign him. If they have a plan on how to utilize him correctly, then it's absolutely fine. But we don't have a plan. It's very clear. Because if you look at the centre-backs that we've been linked to, you have Koundé, you have Varane, there's Kanate, and then there's Tyrone Mings. They're all very different centre-backs. They're all very different centre-backs. So there's no plan. So, yeah, it's just whatever we can afford at the time.
Yeah, literally. And this is what I mean, man. This is why we're a freaking mess. And people don't want to hear it because, but Ollie is this and Ollie is that. Yes, Ollie is part of the problem if you're talking about in-game management, tactics, and wants to win the league. Cool. Ollie ain't going to win us the Premier League. Like, no one's saying that he will.
No manager is.
No,
I'm calling that.
That's right.
Yeah.
No manager right now under this structure, under this ownership, under that Wallad who runs our football club, ain't winning nothing either. Because I saw someone say, bring in Nagelsmann, Greenwood would be better than Haaland, Martial would be better than whoever, Rashford would be better than so. Like, I'm sitting there like, what world are you living in? What world are you living in?
About the Nagelsmann thing? Nagelsmann needs very specific midfielders to make his system work. Very specific midfielders. Like, he would want a player like Banaka in the team, but then he'd also want a holding midfielder, either a ball-winning one or he'd want a defensive midfielder. He'd want one of the two, and they'd be very specific what he needs. And Banaka, who's someone who doesn't have a lot of defensive discipline, who's fantastic at pressing, getting the ball and distributing it, we don't have that in our team.
No. We tried to have that with Fred, and he's terrible. He's terrible at the distribution part. You know what I'm saying? Like I call him Pastor Fred. I've been calling Pastor Fred because I do like Fred. Fred is a player that I like. But right now I'm calling him Pastor Hydrogen because all he's doing is marking up oxygen. That's all he does. All he does is mark up air. That's all I see him doing. So you're basically a hydrogen, bruv. You're making water, fam.
I think what you're seeing is exactly what Fred is. And I know what people love Fred and they like the energy he brings in the pressing. But Daniel James brings energy and pressing. Everyone casts Daniel James. Like, Fred as a midfielder, I've said it before, his attributes as a midfielder are words I don't even want to say live on stream. Honestly. Like, his passing, his ball carrying, his vision, his reading of the game, they're all poor. Those are basic things you need as a midfielder, and he doesn't have them. So he's a pseudo midfielder. He's not a midfielder. Honestly, he's not a real midfielder. That's what he is. He's a pseudo midfielder. Go on.
Exactly, and hence why he's called hydrogen, because pseudoscience and that. You know what I'm saying? Come on now, it makes sense.
This is what I hear all the time. This comment: Fred has to play with McTominay
because they create one midfielder. That's barely even a midfielder.
Yeah. Literally, them man are a fusion dance. They are a fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z.
But it's not Fred's downfall. Not normal
go tanks.
Is McTominay the problem? Is that why Fred plays the way he does?
No.
Is McTominay?
No, both of them are
clear that.
I
know the answer to this. I just needed to clear it up.
They both have the same weaknesses. Mm-hmm. They both do the same thing. Like, obviously, I think McTominay is better at switching the play, playing longer balls. Yeah. Fred tries to do line breaking balls. They're both not good enough at it. They're both highly deficient in that area. They try to do different things. They both press well. They both cover ground well. But at the end of the day, you put them together, and they're an average central midfielder. If you combine their attributes, they're average.
Yo, McFred is a 75 rated player on FIFA. You know what I'm saying? If they did a fusion dance, he'll be 75 rated, bro. That's how peak it is. Like
Danny Drinkwater at Chelsea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Fred's issue is he's too short. I don't listen. People say, but that's like no. Look at when he plays. He will go in for a tackle and time it right. Because his body is not long enough, he will miss the ball. I've seen it too many times. McTominay's issue.
I'm not buying this.
No,
But then
literally.
surely he would position himself better to make the
And
challenge.
that's the problem. And that's the problem. If he doesn't understand his own body, how's he supposed to understand football? How's he supposed to get better tackles in? That's one of my issues. I understand that you may not be a certain height, but stop going for tackles you know you can't win. One time I saw a ball get crossed in against Watford, yeah? The ball came in, he jumped, and it still went over his head. And it wasn't even that high. But anyway, yeah, Scott McTominay, he's just too rash. Man loves diving into tackles for no reason. He got himself injured one time by going into a tackle when he didn't need to, man. Like literally, these two brothers, yeah, I like them. I do. I see the strengths that
poor decisions, KJ. That's what it is.
In a better team. Both of them look better with Pogba next to him. Why? You know what I mean? Like because he's a better footballer.
Pogba's a football player.
You know what I mean? He's a better footballer.
Yeah.
We need better around. If we're gonna keep one of them or both of them, we need players around them that are better. And then that leads into this discussion, leads us back all the way back round. Who are we bringing in? How are we going to bring them in? Mm-hmm. Because if you're telling me Scott McTominay and Fred are both staying at Manchester United Football Club and we need more better players around them, who's responsible for doing that? Who's responsible for bringing them in? Who's responsible for identifying the midfielders that will suit their game and hide their deficiencies?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Personally, I've said it before. This is the way I see it going. Is if everything went to plan, because I think every manager would know that the Fred McTominay at Manchester United it's just not anywhere near the level it should be. So the way I see it going would be that for me, Fred would be a bench player. You could bring him a squad player. You could bring him off the bench to do a certain role, to do a certain job. There are things about Fred's game that I do like. His energy, for one. His energy is great. Does that make you a complete footballer? No, it doesn't. I do think he has ability. It's more his decision making. He has a poor first touch, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
McTominay, he does. He's not a complete footballer, and it's the engine room. You've got to control the game in midfield. How can you control the game if you've got a poor first touch and can't make the passes?
Yeah,
or have to take the second touch, or the execution's poor, or you don't make the decisions, you don't have the instincts. You can't control games then. You can't. Between Fred and McTominay, it's impossible. But I actually see Scott McTominay staying at the club. He'll be on the bench. Yeah. Fred will move on. I think Scott McTominay can fill a number of roles if needed to. He's one of those players that's not going to cost the club a fortune to give a new contract. And Fred's
like Darren Fletcher.
Yeah, a bit like Darren Fletcher. I agree. A bit like Darren Fletcher.
A poor man's.
Yeah.
Darren
Fletcher was a better player. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But we do need midfielders. We need a striker. We need a right winger. We need centre back. We need competition for a right back. I think we need. If we're really thinking about it, where Man United are, we need another left winger. We need two strikers. I think in terms of competition up top, offering something different. We need two midfielders. We need. I'm not sure what's going to go on with Luke Shaw in terms of injury. For me, it seems like he picks up an injury every season, and the longer this goes on, maybe there's a problem there. And I'm not convinced that Telles is the guy to replace him at all. And he's not a young guy.
Not in the way that we play football. No. If Telles was with Pep, I guarantee you he will be fine because he could play that way of football. But in terms of the way we play, where a lot of defensive responsibility is on the fullbacks to defend 1-on-1, sometimes 2-on-1, I don't think Telles is the guy for that. Especially because sometimes there are games where we don't have the ball that much, and we need him to be working. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard; he does work hard, but he's not as defensively solid as Luke Shaw.
There is another issue as well. The reason why I'm so big on us buying midfielders is that a lot of the issues we have in terms of the Ollie style of play and people saying he doesn't have patterns and all that rubbish, a lot of the issues does come down to the midfield, where it breaks down our inability to keep the ball. If we keep the ball better, then players like Telles don't have to defend as much.
Yeah.
Because we've got the ball. We take the initiative. We don't submit possession to the opposition team. Like we've had games where we're literally sitting back pressing teams, or sitting back or pressing teams, sorry. And they're not even teams that are like Manchester City or Chelsea, teams that want to keep the ball. These are teams like West Ham or Burnley. We've done it against Crystal Palace. We've done it against average teams who just have better passes in midfield than us. Like, take that in.
No, that's mad. No, that's very mad.
And then
that's very mad.
It's crazy because if you actually look at McTominay and Fred, they don't get into any of the top 7-8 teams. They don't as starters. They don't. Like,
listen, Aston Villa have a midfield of McGinn and what's his name? Double people McGinn and Douglas Luiz. Those two right there are literally a better version of Fred and McTominay.
That's an insult to those two players that you even compare.
They're both Scottish and Brazilian. Yeah,
but Fred's not
Villa,
a real Brazilian.
Yeah, listen, Aston Villa have a better McFred than Man United, who have the actual McFred. Tell me how that makes sense.
So true.
Tell me how that makes sense, Keith.
So basically, what you're saying is that we have a poor man's McGinn and Louise.
Yeah, we have a McLouise. We have a poor McLouise, fam. Or no, McDouglas. That's what we have. We have a poor man's McDouglas. Oh, it's so sad.
You are
it's so sad, bro. When you think about it, it's so peak, bro. And these pagans are still here. Listen, I'm telling you, we're in generational bondage with these men. We are. The day we get sold is the day we die. A day I die, fam. I ain't gonna see it. I ain't seeing it, bro. I can't see it, fam. I love this club too much. And I ain't gonna see these pagans. You know what? I've said this already, and I'll say it again. I would rather be Barcelona right now. I'd rather be Barcelona because they have to change. They have no choice but to change because their man them got nicked. You telling me you would not love to see Woodward walk out of Old Trafford with handcuffs, bro? Joel Glazer and them man there. Oh, hey, listen, I would love that. Give me that, and then we have to change. Barcelona have no option but to change the way that they ran because these man there have been caught up in corruption. So they have to change. They have to rebrand. They have to go again. We don't have to right now. They don't have to change. They don't have to do nothing. So I'd rather them get caught for corruption, get a bad name for like 2-3 years, and then come back again. I would, because I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see it.
No, I agree with you. I think me and you were probably the most hurt after the window, KJ. We secretly put way too much faith in these fools, man. It was
when
so
you have
bad.
all that information about things, it's actually 10 times worse. Like I heard that transfer window was
shocking. No, listen, I heard some things about just about Man United in general, like yesterday. And when I thought about it, when you hear it, you probably be like, "Oh, it's not that bad," or like, "Oh, we've heard it before." But when I deeped it, I'm like, this is bad. Like, this is so bad. We are in a freaking hole. A hole asshole. That's what we're in. Flick me.
We are in trouble. I feel depressed, man. I feel depressed already, and we're like halfway through the season. We're not even near the window.
How we gone from 21 and 21 as a joke and having a good time and enjoying ourselves to this
reality hit.
Oh, you know, there's reality, yeah. There's reality hitting. Sometimes it hurts a little bit, but then there's reality kicking you in the balls, and that's what this is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
KJ is I think I was comfortable with where Man United were, right? So I was comfortable, not happy about it, but I knew I had no choice but to adapt and just get used to that's the way it is. And you think, okay, we're at the bottom right now, so we can only go up. That's not the case, is it?
I told you, fam. I told you. I've been telling people. This is why the resistance was formed. Listen. When you're free falling, there's no such thing as a bottom, because you're in free. You just keep going down, because we're free falling. We're not. We're in. I told you, we're in a hole, but a bottomless hole, bro. A dark hole where if you're falling, and you're like, oh, okay, we're bound to hit the bottom at some point. Then we can start climbing back up. No, bro. No, we just keep. We're in free fall, fam. And
Yeah.
and we may slow down in the decline because we've got money. Look at the new sponsorship deal. Oh, we've signed a big player. It don't matter. We're still falling, fam. And people are blinded by the fact that Ollie's in charge. Blinded by the fact that Pogba wants to leave. Blinded by all these different things. When we can all see, well, you should be able to see the issue in our football club. We shouldn't be where we are. We shouldn't. We should not. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world, one of the richest clubs in the world, and how we ran worse than Brighton, fam. Tell me how that makes sense. It makes no sense.
I can't
Those
make sense of it.
fam.
That's why I feel depressed. I can't make any sense of it at all.
Doesn't even make business sense.
You know what I mean?
No,
people are like,
that's
oh,
what I
but
mean.
Glazers are great businessmen. I don't care, bro. They're not even doing good business. They would save more money by getting rid of Woodward and getting a DOF who actually understands football and football structure than letting Woodward stay there. You know how much money that man's wasted? You know how much money Ed Woodward has blown on wages, on player transfers, on agent fees?
Yeah.
And paying off the media
Paying off to me.
and ex-players.
Oi. What's your name again? Is it Rachel?
Rachel, yeah.
Yeah, Rachel, listen. This is how bad he is at his job. He paid a PR company to do PR and we found out.
Yeah.
How can you be that bad? We are supposed to know that you have a PR company doing not PR, and we know. We know.
Yeah.
It's all it's ridiculous. You literally, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Because it's actually ridiculous. It's actually
No, there's a good chance I'm going to cry.
Right, that's like me hiring a private investigator to investigate my missus, and my missus found out that our private investigator investigating her. Before
you found out anything useful.
Exactly. Before he got the information, she found out. What are these, man? Yeah, they still owe us 50 million. And you know what? Them man will probably be like, bond them, man. They ain't going to get 1% of it.
Or they'll probably troll us and pay us in like 50 installments.
51 million installments. Yeah.
That's
true,
more likely. Yeah,
it's more likely. Or actually, no, there's a way, yeah, that they'll flip it and we'll owe them 50. You know what I'm saying? I can see that happening too.
No, we don't speak about that.
No, I don't want to talk about that either. Listen, the reality is depressing enough without thinking about how much worse it can get. I don't want to do that. We're supposed to be Vibes FC, KJ. You're supposed to be lifting us all up.
I'm Resistance KJ right now. I'm leader of the Resistance KJ fam. That's what I am right now. Vibes FC will be back when we start playing today. You know what I mean? But right now, after seeing that, I'm not even vexed at Ollie because Ollie has to say what he has to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, he has to say what he has to say. That's not.
I don't know what people expect him to say. Like, what do you want them to say? To come out and say the Glazers are shit? I don't.
Yeah. The last time that happened, look what happened.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what they expect him to say.
Like,
and if it's true as well, like he's been honest without calling out the club. That's my thing. It's like, well, he says we have players in the academy we can give opportunities to. Basically, what he's saying is if we can't buy targets, I've got no choice but to play players from the academy. So you're likely to see them. He's got no choice but to put some sort of good spin on it if he can. It's no different for any other clubs. I think I'm not sure why he said that, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
because I think it is different. It is different. Manchester United make enough money to be able to spend money this year. That's
because he couldn't even. He can't even send sublims. If you could send subliminals, I'd be good for it. But he can't even do that. If he come out and said, "Oh yeah, listen, we've got a good squad, a good bunch of players, quality players, but as a team, we always want more. But that's not down to us." You know what I mean? Even if he said that, that's too much of a subliminal for them pagans not to realize what he's saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. People are like, "Oh, he's a puppet. He's a puppet." Like I said, he's not a puppet because he ain't even getting the tools to look like he's doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, don't matter if you call them out, if you're your best friend, if you're in the middle, if you look after the nan, they do not care, bruv. They will throw you under the bus. They will feed you to the wolves no matter what you do. So people need to get off this Ollie thing. Yes, want him gone. You don't think it's good enough? Cool. I don't care about that.
But that's not where the energy should be, KJ.
But the energy should be at the man who keeps him in a job. That's like me. That's like me getting upset at Asda because they've still got that crap waiter or that crap checkout merchant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At some point, it's not their fault that they're still there. You go to the manager and be like, "Well, why?" When you go complain to a company about a member of staff, who do you talk to?
Management.
You don't go to, you don't shout at that member of staff. You may do, but you don't shout at that member of staff to be like, "I want you fired," because he can't fire himself. You know what I mean? She can't fire herself.
You shout at them like, "I want to talk to your. I want to talk to your.
Yeah,
manager.
I want to talk to your manager."
That's what you say. Yeah,
that's what you say.
If I employed somebody, right, to make a product or what have you, then the designer or the design shop, whoever I'm working with at the time, they will not care. Like, they won't care who's actually made the product. It's me. It's my company. That's where it's come from. I am responsible. 100% I'm responsible. What am I supposed to do? Like, I'm not gonna sit there and pass the phone to the guy who's made the product poorly. Like, I've got to take responsibility for that. That's all on me. Again, ambition comes from the top. All these things you're seeing at the club and everything that's wrong with the club comes from the top. They don't want to win trophies. They want to get top 4. The only people who want the trophies are the managers and players. They're the only ones in the club who want it. Chelsea's different. Man City are different because they want to win things. A shiny new trophy is huge for the egos of the owners. They want that. The Glazers don't care about that. They're not worried about that. You can tell. You can just tell. You just know. Top 4, he keeps his job.
What's crazy is that from a business point of view, fair enough, whatever. You don't want to win the Premier League or the Champions League. You don't care about that. But even in terms of making the top 4, because of their actions, we haven't even consistently made top 4 for the last 8 years. We haven't done it twice in a row. So even then, from a business point of view, they failed.
But Edward, exactly. Yeah, I know what's mad. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. At the start of the season, halfway through the season, I was like, we need to make sure we do the thing that we haven't done in 8 years, which is back-to-back top 4 qualification for the Champions League through the league. We haven't done that for 8 years. But if we do that, it could be one of the worst things that ever happens to this football club.
Yeah, like if we won a trophy.
It actually could. And that's not me saying I don't want it, but I'm looking at the bigger picture. It's facts. It is facts that they spend less money when we make Champions League than when we're outside of the Champions League. When we're in Europa League, when we don't make Europe, they spend money. As soon as we hit Champions League, the money we spent goes down significantly. Now, on top of a pandemic and potentially finishing top 4 again, what do you think these men are going to do? They're not going to invest. They've got what they wanted. And they're getting more what they wanted because their men are still getting dividends while the money's low. The dividends don't change, you know. Like, it's not like they got 8 million last year and this year they're going to have 4 million. No. They'll have their 8 million.
Yeah, of course.
But yet they're complaining that the money's gone down and we can't spend money. Make it make sense. Glazonomics is a freaking plague. It's a plague.
You're 100%
and the more people cop onto this, the better. I've said it. The only way we're in generational bondage with these men. The only way I see the fans actually making a difference, and it's going to be very mad, is either one or two things. One, we all combine together, don't buy anything, don't subscribe to anything, and when we are allowed back into the stadium, we don't go back. Like, it's still empty. That would be beautiful. But that's not going to happen.
Never
that won't happen. Because people will still always want to go back to Old Trafford. Fair enough. If we're going to fill up Old Trafford during a game, stewards can't stop the whole stadium from running onto the pitch and mashing up the place.
Or just turning your back, KJ. Just turn your back on the play. Just do it.
That's not enough. They're still there. They're still there. We're still there. I'm telling you, storm the pitch.
I don't think
make us lose 3-0 automatic loss, fam. Take whoever's playing us, take the 3 points and go home. Because this ain't about you. This ain't nothing to do with you. Piss off. You know what I'm saying? Take what you want and go home. We need to storm that place and let it be known that you're fam. Until there's change, yeah. You see this? This will be happening. And this top 4 that you want, this top 4 money, you ain't getting it. If we can't get top 4, you can't get top 4.
Yeah.
If we can't get investment, you can't get investment. Cool, isn't it? Cool. Let's do that.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what
it should be that way, but it's never going to happen. It's a dream. I just think that whenever something's gone wrong in a game, because that's what fans are most passionate about, right? It's after the game, the result of the game. That's it. When we lose, people are upset. When we win, most people are happy, right? If you have an issue when we lose a game, I feel, and you feel like, oh, the right substitutions weren't made. Think about the squad. Is the squad good enough? If you don't believe the squad is good enough, there's only a few people responsible for why the squad isn't good enough: the owners and the board. Do you really? Any manager would like the top players, elite players. People still think the manager is the guy who does all the deals, who's in control of everything. The clubs don't work like that anymore.
Boy, when I hear Ollie spent 300 plus million, I was like, Ollie hasn't spent a thing.
Yeah,
that's on the owners, bruv. Who told Ollie did not say to the Glazers and Woodward, spend 80 million on Maguire. He just said, I want Harry Maguire.
I don't even think Harry Maguire was his target, KG. That's how bad I think it is. I think we know Mourinho wanted him, and I think the club had a plan to buy him, and they said to Ollie, look, we're going to go for Harry Maguire. And Ollie's like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, he's a great centre-back, you know, and he's been told, we'll get this player, we'll get that player. Like every manager has been told. They've all been promised the world, haven't they?
It's fine if the profile of player is right, though. Like,
yeah.
My problem with the Harry Maguire signing at the time was that we didn't need another ball-playing centre-back. We needed a covering centre-back, a Bailly type at that time. And because Lindelof and Maguire perform the same role. I know Maguire's much better in the air than Lindelof, but they do perform the same role.
Yeah. But
and then
do you think he was told, though? Do you think he was told Maguire's coming in next summer? We're going to get a partnership for Maguire. Like, Maguire's coming in as a captain.
Whatever lies that could be told, they told it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Whatever lies could be told, them man told it, bro. Because they told him, they told the players, they told the player in question himself, Jadon Sancho. They told the press, they told everyone that he's coming. He's coming. We're paying the money.
Yeah.
We'll pay the money. He's coming.
Then Woodward enters the chat.
You know what I mean? Did he come? No. Because them man will lie through their teeth just to get through it all. Them man,
of course.
When I say they're pagans, charlatans, and wallads, people don't understand what I'm saying.
Well, you know the Jadon Sancho thing? They believed they were going to get him. They were so arrogant about their dealings and how they dealt with the situation. They believed they were going to get him on their terms. What they failed to understand is that, you know, the world doesn't revolve around them and what they think.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No one sits there and is like, let me wait for Ed Woodward and Matt Judge to make a move. No one cares about them brothers. No one cares. Literally, when those names get brought up in boardrooms around world football, you don't get, them man are serious brothers, fam. We need to make sure we're on the good side. It's like, them jokers, them waste men. All right, cool. Let's find ways to screw them and pull down their pants because they do it. Actually, we won't have to pull down their pants because they'll do it for us.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly that. It goes back. Yeah, it goes back to how the club is run, isn't it? Like, there's a reason why there's no director of football. It's about this. It feels like a control thing, like an arrogance, ego problem at the club. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it makes no sense, like we've said, to run a business this way, and then when we drop out the top 4, which is where the money's made, to then have to spend bigger to get back in the top 4. Surely make it sustainable so you finish in the top 4 every season. Exactly. That would make the. It's just everything about it is just so wrong. When you really think about it, it's so wrong.
It's literally so. This is why I don't get why United fans can be so like, yeah, the Glazers are issue, but what do you mean? What do you mean, but? What do you mean, but? There is no but.
Yeah.
The way they should word it is, Ollie is an issue, but that's how they should be wording it.
Yeah, that's how it should be worded. Ollie is an issue, but There's a book with there's no book with these pagans, fam. Listen, someone Glazer's out, my guy, fam. He's saying, will the Glazers ever sell up? No. I'm hope. You know what? The Arsenal fans have this false hope in a certain man, yeah? You know what? I'm hijacking that hope. Dangote, they was the farmer, yo. Listen, Dangote, abandon the Arsenal project. Come here, please. Come here.
Imagine.
I'm on my knees. Anyone.
I do actually think they'll sell up eventually.
No.
It's my own theory, and it's more. I get it. It's more hope than anything.
Yeah.
But I do think eventually they will sell up. I think somebody's going to come in. They're not going to be here forever, but they're here right now, and I only care about right now.
Yeah,
so
they won't be here forever. They won't. But when we die, is when they will sell.
Yeah, the devil's coming from. They're not going to be here forever, but
they can't be here forever. But the thing is, with generational wealth, them man take that very seriously. If you look at all the people who've got generational wealth, they always pass it down to their family members, their children, or maybe close friends, and keep it within their circle. These men are going to do the same thing. We've already had one Glazer. Come and go. May he rest in peace in that. You know what I'm saying? What did he do? Pass it down to his sons. What do you think these...
Our only hope, KJ, is that one of them at some stage is like, I really want to win something. I really want us to win things. Like, maybe, hopefully after lockdown, please go and meet with like Roman Abramovich and just let Roman give it to you about all the silverware he's won. And like,
boy, let them listen, get bullied. I hope they get bullied.
That's it.
I'm not an advocate for bullying at school, but bullying in the business world is different, fam. It's different. Go to a meeting with all the owners, fam, and I hope they get laughed at. I hope everyone looks at them and laughs. Even Leicester, I hope the Leicester owners laugh in their face and say, "We've won a Premier League before you have since Fergie retired."
Yeah. Oh, how embarrassing is that? Honestly,
Like I hope they laugh. I hope Sheffield United laugh at them, saying, "You let us go to your gaff and beat you. You are crap." I hope they get business bullied. I hope they get business bullied, fam.
Come on, Roman. We want some dinner parties with Roman and the City owners and the Glazers, and we just want those two to be going at each other about whose model is the best, and the Glazers sat in the middle like, shit, we need to win something.
Yeah. We need something to change, because otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, people, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in the comments. Thank you, everyone, jumping on. KJ and Neeks. If you don't know about Midnight Vibes on the Football Terrace, I don't know why you don't know about it. Go and check that out on a Wednesday and a Sunday. KJ at his absolute best. Great.
Yeah, that's when that's when the captain of Vibes FC is there. Not leader of the resistance, KJ. Captain of Vibes FC, KJ is there. That's when we have a good time.
Definitely. No, it's a great show. It's a great show. Thank you for tuning in. We will be doing more transfer stuff. We're going to do some more Man United content. Tonight is Grounded Football. So get your notifications on ready for that one. And we play tonight. Quickly, just very quickly. What do you see the score being tonight? Both of you.
A painful 2-1. A painful 2-1.
Painful 2-1. Rachel?
1-0 to us.
1-0 win.
Painful 1-0.
Yeah, painful. You gotta add the painful.
I can see them both happening. Because I've had such a depressing day with Man United news, I'm going to be hopeful. I'm going to say a 3-0. I'm going for a 3-0. Let's get it done. And we'll do a match reaction tomorrow. Depends how embarrassed I am if we lose 3-0 or something like that. But we should. Come on, we should be winning 3-0. We should be winning this game. But thank you, everyone, coming on. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Go and follow everybody who's been on as well. And we'll catch you later on. Thank you, people.